Hi everybody, thanks for coming today. So today I'm going to be talking about Bayside Council's community recycling drop-off program. My aim for today is to give councils that are considering a drop-off option for the community a safe, uncomplicated and effective way of introducing this into your communities. So just a bit of background about Bayside Council first. We have a population of about 180,000 residents. We've got about 62,000 households, and we're an amalgamated council. We're the former councils of Botany Bay and Rockdale, and we amalgamated in September 2016, which is still a fairly recent when you're talking about implementing and harmonising services. The current drop-up program that we have is a work in progress. It's continuing to improve every day and every week, and we intend to keep it going like that. In 2017, there were 2 drop-off options for Bayside. The Bexley Depo had Saturday drop-offs once a month for green waste. The Botany Depo had a Monday morning drop-off once a month, and they collected e-waste, metals, mattresses, ink and toner cartridges, and X-ray films. So there were pros and cons of both situations. The Bexley Depo was at a time that suited residents that worked on weekdays. It was situated at a time where there were less work vehicle movements in the actual depot, but it only accepted green waste. The Botany Depo, on the other hand, wasn't as convenient for residents that did work Monday to Friday. It was held on a working day, so there was vehicle movements at the time, but they had a much broader range of materials that they were accepting. So what was motivating us is how do we take the best parts of both systems and combine that into a system that's even better? We were motivated to do this to make the service more convenient and safer for residents, to increase the services that we provide to the community, to increase resource recovery by providing more options for residents to recycle, to provide cleaner waste streams by removing undesirable materials that we didn't want to see in the curbside bins or in the council cleanup, to reduce illegal dumping by reducing residents with more options for how to safely get rid of their materials and ensure that they're recycled, and to harmonise and provide an equal level of service across the whole region. And we did this in line, I forgot to say, with our waste avoidance and resource recovery strategy, which was endorsed in 2018. So as of February 2019, so just a few months ago, we've had all these materials at both of our drop-offs. It was designed to complement the systems we already had and then to gradually introduce other materials that we believed were important for the community to be recycled. The collection of mattresses was already there on one of our drop-offs, and it was also to complement our clean-up system. Some people will call up, and even though we offer a very generous clean-up system, 4 clean-ups a year, people still call up and say, I'm moving out, I need to get rid of my mattress right away, and this was a way that we could offer them an option rather than them illegally disposing. LPG gas bottles, which we've just recently introduced, we're already receiving and recycling gas bottles from illegal dumping, so we just introduced a way for residents to do it safely and without causing disruption to the environment. And clothing, there's been a lot of media focus on clothing and fast fashion and everything. We're offering residents with a solution to make sure those materials are recycled, and large cardboard boxes are becoming a problem in our muds. You have a lot of new people moving in, they have a lot of new appliances, and the cardboard boxes don't work in a normal curbside system. Our drop-off is for residents only, so I'm not going to read out all of our limitations, but we've designed it so that it makes it more difficult for people to bring in commercial quantities of these materials. This drop-off is paid by the residents through their rates, and we want to make sure that it's only available to residents. These are some of the figures for the materials that we've received in the drop-off in the last 3 months, which was the first quarter since we've introduced all these new products. The landfill diversion rates are high, which is great. For clothing, we are still talking to charity organisations about what's the best options. The initial focus is likely to be on clothing that's suitable for reuse, But we're looking at longer term, the option of actually recycling lower grade materials as well. This graph shows over the last quarter what people are bringing into the depot. E-waste is the most popular material at both depots. The reason why we think that the e-waste at the Botany depot is currently higher is because they have been accepting e-waste for a longer period of time. I think as the residents that live closer to the Bexley depot become more, that will rise as well. To date, the program has been partially funded by the New South Wales EPA under the Better Waste Recycling Fund program. The cost of the drop-off is currently around $3,000 per drop-off, or $72,000 for the year. 62 of the current staff costs are current staff costs, with 83% of them being cost during the actual event. All the staff members that we have at the drop-off program have been specifically chosen because of their skills. We have people with skills in traffic management, we have people with education, and we also have people with regulations experience. We have people that are qualified to drive the large vehicles like our green waste truck and also our flatbed truck. The recycling, because we're using existing vehicles and existing depots, the infrastructure costs are quite minimal. The recycling processing cost is 26% of the cost of the event, with the most expensive materials to recover being mattresses, green waste, LPG gas bottles and tyres. For the drop-off events to be successful and prevent residents from disposing of their unwanted items irresponsibly, it has to be well advertised. We've found that different residents like to look at their information in different media, and so we provide a good range of options for them to find this information. The residents can find information on their drop-off events in the recycling calendar, which is delivered to households. Also in our Waste and Cleansing Services Guide, which can be downloaded from our website or can be obtained in hard copy from our customer service centres. This is the first year that we've been accepting clothing, so we've included a full page about the clothing recycling at the drop-offs in our Waste and Cleansing Services Guide. The guide also provides information on when the drop-offs are and what items are accepted and what isn't accepted. You can also find information on all the drop-offs in our Waste app, including the dates, locations and items. For residents who don't have access to an app or don't want to look at information that way, there's a customised resident calendar that can be accessed from our website, and that includes this information as well. We've got information on the website on what can be accepted and what can't be accepted. And we've also got a news and innovation section where people can go onto our website and find out how the drop-offs are going, what's being collected, what the success rate is. So some people might be asking, why aren't we going for a CRC model instead, which is the one that the New South Wales government is partially funding? The community recycling centres that are being promoted by the New South Wales EPA are for materials that they've flagged as problem waste. These are problem waste, but we also have our own problem waste that have been problems in our community, either because they've been illegally dumped or because people expect a recycling option for them. So whilst we won't discount doing these materials in the future, we want to look at the recycling options, look at our resources at the depot, and then introduce it slowly. We favour a staggered introduction of recycling materials at the drop-off. This allows you to make sure that there is no disruption, that the depot can handle the new materials, that you have all the things set up, and in a way that doesn't disrupt your day-to-day activities. Unfortunately, the way that the funding model is for the CRC's work at the moment, everything has to come in on the first day. And so we don't believe that that suits us quite as well. We want to do it in a very risk-free environment for council, so we can just introduce materials one at a time, or as we get the markets. Another significant issue for us in terms of CRCs, or a dedicated facility, is location. At the moment, Bayside provides identical services for drop-offs at both the Botany and the Bexley depots. There's one depot in each former council area, ensuring the residents feel that they're being treated equally. There isn't currently a centralised location that would provide sufficient coverage to the entire LGA. Also, very importantly, with the exception of 2 councils, all the CRCs in New South Wales have to accept materials from all people, all domestic households. It doesn't matter if they're ratepayers in that particular LGA or not. Our belief is that if council is funding a program with the ratepayers' money, then it should wholly benefit the ratepayers. So what are the benefits? Well, we do give people a very generous cleanup program, but sometimes things happen, people have to move out quickly, and it's just not going to cut it. Giving them something that's available almost every 2 weeks is a great way of making sure that they have options available to them. It does reduce illegal dumping. We've had anecdotal information about regulators go out and somebody's illegally dumped a mattress or some white goods, and they're like, well, I don't know what I should do with this material. And it's like, well, you're in luck because we have a drop-off event this weekend, or we have the one a weekend after that, and so you can bring it to that and it'll be recycled free of charge. We are increasing council's resource recovery by allowing for recycling of items that may have been hidden in garbage bins, hidden amongst clean-up materials, or illegally dumped. It provides good residential coverage by having 2 convenient locations within the Bayside area, covering both former councils. The phased implementation allows the program to be improved and increased progressively with minimal financial and logistical risk to council. All events are provided on a Saturday now, which provides convenience to residents, and it also means that we don't have a lot of work vehicles that are moving around the depot at the same time that we've got resident vehicles. So what are the lessons that we've learned as we've been implementing this over the last 2 years? One is that residents don't access information in the same way. There'll be residents that call up and they got our phone number from the waste guide and they're like, what do I do about my drop-offs? And that information is in there, but maybe it's not in a form that's convenient for them. So we can direct them to whatever is the most helpful for them. We always have waste education and regulation staff at the depot, at the drop-off events. These are the staff that are out there every day educating residents about what the correct way to dispose of materials are. So by having them drop as well, it becomes part of their entire program about how they educate residents about correct disposal. Unexpected things can happen on the day. This is a work depot. We are making improvements to the depot, so it could mean that there needs to be a change to the traffic management plan either just before the event or actually during the event if a car breaks down or something. Having somebody that has a red card in traffic management on site means that this can safely and legally be changed as it needs to be. No matter how good your education, people will still bring in materials that they're not supposed to bring to the drop-off. They'll bring in chemicals. They'll say, can't you just take this paint for me? I've got it here now. So you really need to have information about how they can conveniently dispose of these materials otherwise. So we have information on chemical drop-offs. We also have access to our waste app, which has an A to Z guide about how you can dispose of different materials. So our regulations staff don't get put on the spot on the day and have to work out how you're supposed to get rid of a certain material. As I said before, I just wanted to show you a quick video of one of our latest drop-offs. As I said before, it is a work in progress. We're currently doing some great works at the depot, which means that there's a bit of construction going on. And how do I do that? Press play?
No, it didn't have sound this one.
No, it doesn't have sound. Okay, so this is our Bexley Depo. This was the 4th of March drop-off. They stop there at the regulations officer. The regulations officer will ask what they've got, put down details about their number plate, proof of residence. Now they're driving up to the back of the depot. It's all very well signed and the traffic plan is marked out. Then we have officers at the back that can get the material out of the cars for people. We've got our compactor there for green waste. We've got our flatbed truck for mattresses. Or some of those construction supplies that you can see is we're actually building our temporary recycling storage shed at the moment. So those materials were there. That's the concrete pad that the shed was going to go up on. And we've got bins for clothing, for a skip for e-waste and a skip for metals. It's all very well run. We usually have a lot of the same staff on every drop-off, so they know what they're doing. We've got some silos down the left-hand corner for civil works. We are looking at using recycled aggregate in our civil works in the future, So that's an important part of our overall war strategy as well. And then they drive out. It's a reasonably quiet street at both of the depots, so there's not many issues of people queuing up, but it is quite a fast and efficient process as well. You can see that there's lots of parked up vehicles because it is a working depot. And I think it's important for people to realise that you don't have to have a dedicated facility in order to have a successful drop-off program. You can have it at one of your own depots as long as there's the safety and traffic management plan in place. So this is our recycling temporary storage shed that we're building, which is also partially funded by the New South Wales EPA. So it was just a concrete slab on the Saturday. This photo was taken on the Thursday. So 4 days later, it's almost a complete shed. By the next week, it had a roof and it had walls as well. This shed will allow us to keep our recycling materials temporarily protected from the environment, from rain, all those sort of things, until they can get collected the next week. So, thank you very much for your time.